Holocracy by Brian Robertson. The new management system that made headline news when Zappos asked that all its employees follow the system or take a pay to resign, and 14% of the employees took the option to leave. The holocracy structure resembles how nature organizes systems like the human body, where cells function autonomously within organs, which in turn function autonomously within the body. The impetus behind holocracy. The main idea behind this new system is that today's companies have to survive in an increasingly complex and dynamic environment that requires an equally dynamic organizational structure in order to properly address new challenges and opportunities. The solution germinated from the observation that humans have a unique ability to sense tension within an organization, which is defined as recognizing the gap of what currently exists and what could be the current reality, and the sensed potential. Why should you care? Holocracy is a system that aims to make companies evolutionary by capitalizing on this unique ability that we have. By doing away with the concept of manager, it effectively breaks down communication and collaboration barriers formed by traditional siloed pyramid org structures. Managers like the new system because they don't have to spend their entire day solving everyone's problems. And employees like it because they feel truly empowered to act on tensions, problems, and opportunities that they recognize. Rethinking the corporate org structure. Instead of thinking of a company as a pyramid of people in different departments and with different authorities, think of it as a set of nested circles that consist of different roles, not people. For example, a company may have a production, a marketing, and a finance role. And a person can fill more than one roles. The founder may fill the marketing and finance roles in a startup, while an employee fills the production role. All these roles live within a circle, which is simply a group of roles. As a company evolves and roles become too complex, they can break into subcircles. In the previous example, the marketing role can later evolve into a marketing circle that encompasses the roles of client communications, advertising, and social media. Innovation to empower employees. One of the key innovations of holocracy is that the person who fills a role is empowered to execute an assignment the best way he or she sees fit. There's no manager to override that decision, and no one has such authority, not even the CEO. In this sense, holocracy creates a very empowering environment where authority is truly distributed. For example, if the person filling the marketing role in an organization wants to create a LinkedIn page for the company, he is free to do so without asking anyone's permission. The only limitation is from any restrictions set in governance. For example, there could be a rule regarding the use of the company's logo that he needs to adhere to. Now let's say that the person filling the events organizer role notices that the information on the company LinkedIn page is not updated frequently enough with the company's events information. If she wants to expect the marketing role will do that regularly, then she must propose adding a new accountability to the marketing role during a governance meeting. At an upcoming governance meeting, the person in the events organizer role presents that proposal. After a structured process involving some clarification and reactions, the meeting moves on to the objections round, where the marketing person says he can't post about events because he doesn't have the clear information on when they're scheduled. They amend the proposal to also make the events organizer role accountable for publishing a calendar of events. Once there are no more objections, the proposal gets adopted. What does it all mean? The holocracy playbook is new and feels fairly complex. It starts by separating people from functions, assigns activities to specific roles, dynamically adjusts roles as companies and their environments evolve, and makes sure that roles have great clarity. But this is just the beginning. Holocracy is a very different management system that requires you to rethink your organization from the ground up. It may feel awkward, foreign, and uncomfortable at first, but it may be the only path to install evolution within your company.
How can we define power? And how can we define force? So, what are they? One can say that force is movement. where power is stillness. Gandhi was a man who defeated the British Empire without firing a shot or physically fighting, and that's an example of power over force. So the answer comes through communication, not through conflict. Communication is power, conflict is force. Another way to view this is by understanding a simple law of physics, such as force creates a counterforce. Every action has a reaction. If you throw a punch to a punching bag, you will immediately feel a response through your entire body. Power stands still. Gravity is an example of power. Gravity does not move, but its power moves everything within its area. The simple pen has a lot more power than a sword because its power comes from the mind. A monk who can break 20 bricks with just a single hit is another example of power. But his power doesn't come from his body, it comes from his mind as well. So again, power is that perfect alignment and stillness, where force is movement. Now, the big idea number 2 goes something like, to be or not to be is not a choice. One may decide to be this or that, but to be is simply the only fact there is. Human mind is like a computer connected to a giant database, and this database is the human conscious itself. So it's like I'm part of everyone and everyone is part of me. But what are we? We are simply a microcosm of energies mixed together into a sparkling cocktail. And your life is so important and meaningful, and your life is also so unimportant and unmeaningful. Like me now, I'm having this virtual conversation with you and I'm part of you. But if you respond to me, you will also become part of me. If I lose my memory tomorrow, will I be dead? The answer is no, because the idea still remains. It's connected, it's there. That's power. The universe has a single law, and that's economy. All serves a purpose. If you see a fly on your window, that fly can inspire you to invent the next flying machine or whatever, but also someone else can kill that fly and the little thingy can serve as dinner for another animal. As I said, nothing is wasted. The giant database of human consciousness transcends both time and space, has no limitations, and it's simply there.
Are you happy with the way the world is going? Do you think we need a new plan? Are you happy working like a slave just to make ends meet, or do you believe there's a better way? A new social structure in which we can work together instead of fighting each other, to free us from the economic slavery imposed on every single one of us today. Well, you're not alone. There are billions like you who know there must be a better way. There is hope. There is a plan, something completely new. We are creating a new alternative, a new reality, a new social structure, without the need for any violence, any resistance, opposition, or conflict. Every day, millions of people wake up to realize that we've become enslaved by the system imposed on us. When we are born, we enter this world free of any agreements, contracts, or obligations. But in time we realize that there are endless rules and regulations imposed on us, laws and rules that we did not agree to. We can't travel freely, we need passports and ID documents, and we have to work to earn this thing called money, whether we like it or not. This is not freedom, this is pure slavery. From the first breath we take to the last breath we breathe out, there is always some invisible authority keeping us under control, telling us what we can and cannot do. This is not the life we imagine for ourselves. This is not the kind of world we belong in. All of us know that there must be a better way, and every one of us wants to be free. But very few of us know what to do and where to turn. Welcome to the world of Ubuntu, where we are laying the foundations for a new social structure. More often than not, the solutions are right in front of our eyes, and the simplest solutions are always the most effective. Our plan is so simple, we cannot screw it up. We are turning our crazy world around, creating a world of abundance and prosperity that very few of us can imagine in this insane world we are trapped in. By turning competition and conflict into collaboration and cooperation, starting with our small towns and villages, where people still live close to the earth, close to the land and to nature, creating communities of abundance where people live in harmony and support of each other, rather than divided in fear of each other, where everyone's talents and skills are used to enhance their lives and to benefit the whole community. A world where everything we imagine is possible, because we are doing it for ourselves and for each other. A world where we can create, build, grow, invent and implement anything we desire, because the obstacles to progress have been removed from our society. A world in which every child that is born can grow to their full potential, not confined by the restrictions imposed on us today. A world where the tools of control that restrict all aspects of our lives have been removed. A new social structure, a true utopian world in which the need for money will rapidly fade away. Welcome to the world of Ubuntu and contributionism, where everything we ever imagined is possible. And it all begins with one small town. So, which will be the first town to start the domino effect? Just one small town that'll change the world. Why not yours?
My name is Marcin. I'm a farmer, technologist, born in Poland, now in the US. I started a group called Open Source Ecology, and we took on a very big, hairy, audacious goal. We've identified the 50 most important machines that allow for modern life to exist, the things we rely on every day, whether we know it or not. Everything from a tractor, to an oven, to a circuit maker. Then we create an open source, DIY version that anyone can build and maintain at a fraction of the cost. We call this the Global Village Construction Set. Are we reinventing the wheel here? Well, yes. So let me tell you a story. I finished my 20s with a PhD in fusion energy, and I discovered that I was useless. I had no practical skills. The world presented me with options and I took them. I guess you can call it the consumer lifestyle. So I started a farm in Missouri and learned about the economics of farming. I bought a tractor, then it broke. I paid to get it repaired. Then it broke again. And pretty soon, I was broke too. I realized that the truly effective, low-cost tools that I needed to build a sustainable life and settlement just didn't exist yet. I needed tools that were robust, modular, highly efficient and optimized, low cost, made from local and recycled materials, designed for a lifetime, not obsolescence. I found that I would have to build them myself. So I did just that, and I tested them, and I found that industrial productivity can be achieved on a small scale. So then I published the 3D designs, schematics, instructional videos, and budgets on a wiki. Then contributors from all over the world began showing up, prototyping new machines during dedicated project visits. So far, we've prototyped 8 of the 50 machines, and the project is beginning to grow on its own. We know that open source has succeeded with software and tools for managing knowledge and creativity, and the same is beginning to happen with hardware too. We're focusing on hardware because it's hardware that can change people's lives in such tangible material ways. If we can lower the barriers to farming, building, manufacturing, then we can unleash massive amounts of human potential. and not only in the developing world. We've seen lots of excitement from American farmers, builders, makers, who can harness our published library to start a construction business, parts manufacturing, an organic CSA, or just to sell power back to the grid. Our goal is a published library of instructional materials so complete, so clear, that a single burned DVD is effectively a civilization starter kit. I've planted 100 trees in a day. I've pressed 5,000 bricks in one day from the dirt beneath my feet. And I built a tractor in 6 days. And from what I've seen, this is only the beginning. If this idea is truly sound, then the implications are significant. A greater distribution of the means of production, environmentally sound supply chains, and a newly relevant DIY maker culture can hope to transcend artificial scarcity. We're asking the question, what are the limits of open source hardware in terms of what we all can do to make a better world? Thank you.
I believe early childhood is a magical time where imagination takes off.
Montessori is an education for independence, preparing not just for school, but for life. Over 100 years ago, Dr. Maria Montessori pioneered an approach to early education that would change the world. By following the development of the child, she recognized that given the right environment, materials, and guidance, that a child's full potential could be realized. Inspired by this knowledge, Dr. Maria Montessori developed the materials, principles, and practices that have come to be known as Montessori education.
In the year 2000, my husband and I were looking for a childcare centre for our own children, and that's when we first observed a Montessori classroom in action. We were so captivated by this unique method of learning that we were inspired to make it available to as many children as possible. At Montessori Academy, our goal is to activate the child's own natural desire to learn through our specially designed curriculum.
It doesn't take long to realize that a Montessori classroom is different from any other type of learning environment. Look around and you'll see that children are actively engaged, working independently, and directing their own learning experiences using hands-on materials that they have chosen themselves. All the materials in a Montessori classroom are organized into one of 5 curriculum areas, including practical life, sensorial, language, mathematics, culture.
The activities in each curriculum area are specifically designed to meet the developmental needs and interests of the children in each age group.
The practical life curriculum teaches children how to become independent learners who are capable of caring for themselves and their environment. The sensorial curriculum teaches children to experience learning through their senses. The language area teaches children the small motor skills, auditory and visual tracking skills that are needed to learn to read and write. The mathematics curriculum provides children with the knowledge and skills to understand abstract mathematical concepts through concrete materials. The culture area allows children to experience geography, science, history, music and art through hands-on materials and activities.
Once your child is entrusted in our care and environment, they will be capable of achieving their full potential. We want to make a difference to the future of our children and to live our philosophy that learning should be linked not only to the home but also to the outside world.